welcome back. Is Jojo
And
and
Shruti, what's up, Joe?
Happy New Year. High five.
Happy New Year, yo! Arey wow, we become good at this.
Abhi
I
to
like
pick the wall. Shit, I
it.
can see it. How are you? How was New Year?
I'm good, yeah, very good.
New Year's Eve.
I was very relaxed. I didn't do anything because
Perfect.
4 days
Same.
before it, the entire week, and the day after it, like for a second, I was doing so much that I was like, it's a very good thing. 31st ko maine kuch nahi kiya.
Oh,
Like
lovely.
I was ready to go off to sleep at 11. I was like,
हाँ.
बस बहुत हो गया अरे 1 घंटा भी और उठ के रहना पड़ेगा
Same,
क्या?
same. Because I was out all evening and I saw like amazing. Like I was out close by with my friend. I came
Yeah.
home and I had my pizza and wine. And I was so comfy. I
Same.
was literally falling asleep before midnight. So I somehow I was forcing myself to stay awake just
Oh,
for me to see the clock change for my personal satisfaction.
correct.
Oh, ho gaya. And then I wished family and I
Yeah,
passed out.
same.
Passed out.
Because the horror stories I've heard of people being stuck in traffic over here and then being in overcrowded places. I was like,
Hate
यार
this.
अब enough party कर दिए life में to know किस दिन नहीं निकलने का बाहर.
Been there, done
वैसे.
that, got several
Yes.
t-shirts, cannot do it again ever. It gives me anxiety just thinking about those situations. Anywho, this is a very special track from what I'm being told. It dropped
Yeah.
on December 31st and
Mm.
Karma does this every year. He drops a very like personal, sort of emotional track or something that he feels strongly about on that day because that's the day he lost his
Yeah.
father
Yeah.
in the accident. So this he kind of announced it a few days before the drop and I was waiting to cover it with you. It's Karma. He's our favorite, and
That's amazing. Thank you so much for waiting for me for this because I would have
of
liked to be
course,
a part of this track. Ever since we saw his documentary, which was almost the start days of when I had started
yes,
reacting with you. So,
yes,
his journey has a very special place, I
for
think, in
us.
our reaction journeys
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. And I told him this at the
Yeah,
start of
it's
the
like,
podcast. I said, because I
yeah,
saw that thing, I felt very like connected to you and like I know you, like you're
correct,
my friend. I like you and I
correct.
want to, I want to see you do well in life and all.
Yeah,
But, and this, I asked him in the podcast, just a little, you saw it, I know, but just a
I
reminder.
know. Yeah,
I asked him because I was going through his lyrics and I found the Hanumanji lines and Bhole lines and those kind of Bhole, Bhola, lines. And so I asked him as a question, like, is that where you draw your strength from? What's your inner dialogue like?
yeah,
I just want to know, like, just are you spiritually inclined? Ye sab. Curiosity ke liye I asked. And he didn't answer. He just said कि इसका आंसर आपको मेरे आने वाले गाने में मिलेगा. और वो ये गाना है, I think.
nice.
From what
Okay.
I'm being told, people have messaged me and told me that, and someone made a reel also out of that clip from the interview. So, okay, let's see what's written here.
Yeah.
Bhagwaan,
But
it's a
to add to what you were saying, I also feel like because it's common knowledge, we all know that why this day is so special for him. And for him to take all that and put it creatively into the art that matters so much to him, all those emotions to put them into this, I think that right there is the best way and best Shraddhanjali in one sense and best way to express what one is feeling.
yeah.
So I think that's, already kudos to that. So yeah, just
And
before we
also his dad was always supportive and encouraging of his
yeah,
passion and the art, space that he wants to be in. So I think in that sense also,
yeah,
it's just perfect. So it's a journey that resonates with anyone who has questioned their beliefs and sought meaning in the face of adversity. Through its on-point storytelling, soulful vocals, and a rich musical tapestry, Karma invites listeners to reflect on the universal theme of faith, making it a compelling and emotional musical experience. Wow, I really like this. Who has written it? Visualizer is Manil Kanwal, written and performed Karma, produced, mix and mastered Sez On The Beat boy. I think Sez and Karma together, they should just professionally marry each other. Bas. They're so good together. I can't stop looping Eyes on the Prize EP. Before we get into the song, I'm just saying, I think I mentioned in my Rapped with Rohan also, it's one of the sonically like best projects of the year because it has taken expectations and delivered completely something new
yeah,
and it's such a loopable actual like project. So
yeah.
okay, chalo, let's get into
Ready.
this.
Yes.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, play.
Sez on the beat, boy.
एक था टाइम मैं छोटी मोटी करता था राइम मेरा सपना था रैप का और करता पढ़ाई वाज अ गुड बॉय मेरी आंखों में थी शाइन फेस पे थी स्माइल, लड़का था काइंड। मैं और मेरा दोस्त साथ जाते थे स्कूल, पापा छोड़ने भी चेतक पे। इट वाज स्कूल, मंगलवार को चिकन वाली करते ना भूल, भगवान का शुक्र आफ्टर ऑल इट वाज गुड। एग्जाम वाला बोर्ड भगवान का शिकर, आस्था थी पूरी, जाता मैं प्रसाद था लेकर। ऊपर वाले पे भरोसा, कुछ गलत नहीं होगा, उसका नाम लेके कुछ भी कर जाने का जिगर। उसके नाम का दिलासा, उसके नाम से था प्यार, मैं मानता था उसी ने बनाया संसार। आंखों में थे सपने, लड़के थे 16 के, मैं लड़ा उससे जिसने कभी मुझे ये बोला कि दुनिया में भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं है। यहाँ पे भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं। एज 21 चला लाइफ का पता, मैंने छोड़ा अपना कोर्स, था मैं जॉब पे लगा। कॉल सेंटर, पैशन, लाइफ हुई हार्ड, तब बिना भरोसा भगवान से उठा। पैसा कमा रहा था मैं, पर मेरा पैशन था प्योर। देहरादून छोड़ा, निकला दिल्ली की ओर। रास्ते में था हिमांशु का कॉल, पता चला मुझे नहीं रहा मेरा दोस्त, लॉस्ट माय बेस्ट फ्रेंड। आंखें नम बहुत, भगवान से पूछा कि क्यों करा ये, और आवाज नहीं आई ना कोई जवाब। उसकी मैयत पे नहीं गया मैं, cause I was in shock। भगवान पे डाउट आया, पूछा क्यों ये करा। मेरा भाई था वो, माना नहीं था सगा। सच बोलूं तो नहीं मुझे आज भी यकीन, वो था स्विमिंग कोच तो कैसे डूब के मरा। मैं काफी रोया, although men don't cry, लेके काफी सवाल आगे बढ़ने का ट्राई। 31st न्यू ईयर मेरा काम से था ऑफ, उस रात जो भी हुआ उसका आज तक है खौफ। डैड के नंबर से कॉल, पर पापा नहीं बोले, अजनबी थी आवाज जो सुना, लगा रोने। माँ का चेहरा है याद, साथ लिया बस भागा, यकीन नहीं अस्पताल में। इट वॉज अ डेड बॉडी, इट वॉज माई डैड्स बॉडी। मैंने सोचा उठे बस एक बार बोले, उस दिन मांगा भगवान से हाथ खोल कर, उससे कुछ नहीं मिला, फिर भी लोग यही बोले कि जो भी होता होता अच्छे के लिए। लेकिन बाप खोना कैसा अच्छा बच्चे के लिए, तब से कोई पूजा पाठ नहीं माना मैंने ठाना। पहले दोस्त फिर बाप, मैंने उस रात जाना के दुनिया में भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं है। यहाँ पे भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं। लगा रैप करने, पैसा बनाया फ्रॉम पैशन, गानों में निकाला अपना पेन एग्रेशन। जो करते रिलेट वो बोले यंग लेजेंड, गॉट हार्ड अर्न मनी बट हार्डर लेसन्स। पैसा भी कमाया और कमाए काफी दोस्त, सब साथ ब्रेड तोड़े मेरे नाम के यहाँ टोस्ट। शो पे के ए आर में चिल्लाए मेरा नाम, लोग मारते हैं चैंट्स मेरे काम का है शो। बैक टू बैक हिट्स एंड बैक टू बैक टेक, सब फ्यूल में बदला मिली जितनी भी हेट। जिन्हें टीवी पे सुना या तो साथ या खिलाफ, थैंक्स टू माई स्टार्स कर्मा वन ऑफ द ग्रेट्स। आई फील ऊपर बैठे हैं जो रखते ख्याल, मेरे दोस्त मेरे दादा और मेरे फादर साहब। दे मेड दिस श्योर के एम ना चुके, तो तुम ही दो जवाब, कैसे मान लूं मैं ये के दुनिया में भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं है। यहाँ पे भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं।
I love that message in the end. Even the writing, that was just okay. He's he's yeah, he's just speaking his story, but it's the way he's written those words. I know kahin na kahin everybody is going to find that one reflection from their life, if not more, in his words. That relating is so strong on so many levels, and the way he's used the words, and the way he's interjected it, it is it's hard hitting in the way that we normally relate to hard hitting, but it's not at all that. Like, it's the kind where it's like it's so many things. It goes in and literally speaks, in times what one has felt in those situations. Like, I did not expect this, but the way his words were, it has made me actually recollect the losses that I've had in my life and the potential losses that can happen. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that had happened to his best friend. Like, I don't remember it. I don't think it was there, like, previously. Like, I don't know. I just didn't know. And that right there, that shock value, which kind of gets you, that you're expecting he's going to talk about his father. But then the whole best friend thing, and it was, dude, like, when they say rappers usually a tough life se ji hote hain, and then that's why it becomes in the craft. And many times tough things just sound very like, कि हाँ ये तो लोगों के साथ होता है, लेकिन जब वो एक्चुअली होता है वो बहुत अलग बात होती है, and that reflects in his craft, in his, but this song is not about craft, not about skill. I'm not even going to go all there. This is pure heart.
Yeah,
Like it's just pure heart. And
pure,
like
pure soul. Oh man, I figured he's going to. I don't even know how to talk about this because I don't even feel like it needs a discussion, you know. I remember one of the first storytelling tracks that made me cry on the channel was Balliyo Mein. And even at the end of that, if you remember, it was just, we both were so overwhelmed that it was like, this is this like there's nothing for us to say. It's very difficult to say anything like we normally do for a track like this. I feel like because he also told me that in the interview, Sez and him have both lost their fathers. So I feel like in a way, imagine even when Sez was making this track and the way he's even done the music and the whole, the sound and everything he's created for it, it kind of almost feels like you are you are in that place up in the sky. They've taken you there with their words and their music. And I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's just it just
yeah,
had that.
like to me it was a very journey like feel. Like
Yeah.
when that storytelling journey like feel, so it's interesting how you're saying that it made you feel like it's uplifted and like in the sky, very ethereal kind of a feel.
Yeah, like it's actually taken you into, how you imagine heaven to be. It's kind of created that space for you I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like I got that feeling that वो बहुत ही थोड़ा आपको किसी और like वो space में ले जाके कहानी बता रहे हैं. And I like Karma's voice in the hook, the Bhagwaan nahi hai bit one that when he does that voice उसमें इतना emotion भर भर के आता है. Normally भी इसमें तो किसी और ही level पे था. And the line before each of the three verses that flowed into that was so different. It kind of told the story. So that one line where he's like, anyone used to say, if I remember correctly, अभी एक बार ही सुना है, anyone used to question भगवान, मैं उनसे बोलता था कि how can you say कि भगवान नहीं है, that है. Then in the second one, it was like, मेरा, I believe this ना, भगवान नहीं है. And then in the end, how he says कि भगवान क्या है मेरे लिए और कहाँ से वो, thought or strength or thing मिलता है, वो है. So the whole kind of progression and the
And that's such an experiential thing, no? Because
yes,
I used to be that. Like when I was little, I would like Faith. I used to be like, Faith is my middle name. Like, I'd be like all that. And then at age 10, 11, like when one loss happened. And
yeah,
at that point, I was like, if God really existed, any God really existed, any power out there, this would not have happened. Now, of course, I was too little to know the whole karma bit and the whole, like, like how life functions and like whatever. And, but it is just, you go through that shock where you just say, Katti. Like, at that age,
yeah,
it's almost like Bhagwan se Katti. Abhi nahi. Like, I don't want to believe in this. Of course, it opened up my eyes to questioning a lot. It took me a long while to finally come around faith again, like and I'm not talking about religion per se. I mean religious, yes, but also spiritual, and also it
yeah,
started my spiritual growth and spiritual journey.
yeah,
So when he was talking about it and the journey he was talking about, I know anybody who's gone through loss when they were relatively younger, or actually even you're never too old for loss. When it
yeah,
happens for the first time, it's always like that jhatka jo milta hai. And that is so relatable, the way it's been showcased in this song. Like in terms of penmanship, in terms of like actual presentation, the music, the singing, just the emotion behind it, just all of it put together. That's one of the layers. I was saying that it's so relatable on so many levels. That's one layer. वो सुन के एकदम से ऐसे वो, man,
yeah. And and like you said right at the start कि इस गाने में इतने sections हैं of that journey
yeah,
of of lessons and growth internally and all of that. At some point or the other, anyone listening will relate to some line or the other because
correct.
they're either going through it right now or they have
Yeah.
gone through it, but they needed someone to word it for them and express what they had gone through and felt and realized. So it's just such a relatable song, even though he's telling his story. And like that second verse just broke my heart into a gazillion pieces. It was just like because he's painting such a picture, when he got the call for his friend, which,
Yeah.
I think he mentioned somewhere, but I didn't realize, like it was his best friend and stuff. And then the whole call, picking up his mom, going to the hospital, seeing
That for
it
his best friend, the
was,
line which he spoke, which is
मैं
ke
गया
वो
नहीं
swimming coach था
और कैसे
और कैसे डूब I was- the you know हम जब स्क्रिप्ट राइटिंग करते हैं या कुछ ऐसी आयरनीज हम क्रिएट करते हैं लेकिन इट्स लाइक
life
when
itself,
life creates these ironies and they become reality, it's almost like it's too painful, it's too
fucking
crushing.
heartbreaking. Yeah,
And
it's
when that shock becomes into this thing, then you begin to take a step back. That's when people actually, that whole sarcasm bit, because when you've been hurt so deeply, that's when you take a step back and you laugh. आप और क्या कर सकते हो? You look at life's plan and just laugh about it. Like,
yeah.
but it's just too.
I
Oof.
feel this because I always say this, and it's one of my life's like guiding, quotes from Stephen Hawking. He was in a wheelchair and his entire life, and people who've gone through such, like, or are going through, and have experienced great sort of misery, um they find the humor, otherwise life crushes them. So his quote, which is, life would be
Half his life.
tragic if it weren't funny,
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
where do I find the pieces of joy and the moments of joy? And because I've gone through so much in life, I don't want to miss those moments where I can find the joy and the
yeah,
laughter. So, and that kind of also shows us why he is the way he is, like, now, because you've seen all the darkness and you don't want it anymore in your daily life and around you. So you, become this person who spreads joy. Like, I spent, time talking to him before and after the podcast as well, and he's just always making everyone laugh. He's always making everyone laugh. He's just cheering everyone up. He's like the little, like, not little from any angle, but he's the happy energy jumping around in the room, making
yeah,
sure everyone's good.
yeah.
So yeah, to your point, exactly that. Turns you and also the thing is, um the whole questioning bit that happens, like you said, after experiencing it, you also were like a tea, wo sab aapka, because again, I'm going to go into a whole other thing discussion, but it is about events being termed good and bad, and then you realize that it is like God is not giving us good and bad. It is
I,
about,
and also deeper than that, like it shakes entire your entire way of looking at life. Like it shakes your
yeah,
entire being to the degree where you just look at everything and say, "Ye sab kuch hai bhi ya nahi? Is this a reality?" Because if something like faith can, like the faith that I had, if that didn't happen, then rest everything that exists, does it even, like you go into existential crisis at age 10 or
yeah,
younger?
it's
You
true.
know,
It's, yeah.
it's like
Well,
such losses can do that.
yeah, yeah. My God, it's just heart like wrenching, just and
It's not easy to put this in
into words.
a
And
relatable song like this, like and to bare your soul on it, to not, and also the, if for a second now like if I take a step back from the emotion of it, I love the graph of the writing. Like
yes,
if I look at it
exactly.
purely from the script perspective,
Yes.
the way the whole thing about when one believes so much and then one questions it and then one loses it, then one says, I don't believe in all this. But then when one bigger loss happens, one says, listen, I believe even in you, like I will believe, like just make this happen. That begging, almost. And then of course it doesn't. And that makes you kind of come back to it. It's just the whole graph of a roller coaster. It's
Yeah.
been show, like to have that much that depth कि आप वो देख सको, because I
Yeah.
mean Karma's what, yeah, he's what, 25
It's
or somewhere,
27,
right?
28
Twen-
now.
late 20s. That's it's not the 50s or the 60s ki age ke like aap life ki puri aise sab kuch. He's very young, so for
Yeah.
him to think on these terms and have that depth and have a kind of a lesson graph on it and to be able to articulate it not just clearly but poetically, so it's very too good.
It's that, of course, completely agree with you. And to add to it, it also shows, um, like I was saying, events like this can either make you or they can break you completely for life. Now, which one of those categories are you going to fall in? Because nobody falls in the middle. There is, they are either defeated for life and they're just completely like they give up, or they just go through the motions of life the rest of their years, or they
Yeah,
then sit and say, this happened to me, I'm not
Right.
gonna, at some point, I have to stop asking why. Why me? And at some point, I have to start saying, how do I react to this, and what do I make of myself after this, and what do I
Right.
make of my life after this? And the graph that he's taken through this song and the point that he's ended at, it shows that he's in the category that doesn't let things break him. He will obviously go through his grief, but he will land in a place where he steps up and says, find the strength in what happened, find the source of strength in what happened, and just onwards and upwards, figure out your life. You're not gonna be defeated by what happened to you. You're gonna take all the emotions you're feeling through that event of your life, and you're gonna channel them in a way that makes you conquer life and make those people you lost proud of you, you know?
Right. Yep.
So that's who he is, comes across so clearly by the end of the song.
Yeah.
So, and I hope everyone is like that, whoever goes through deep losses like this and adversity like this. That's the kind of motivation and drive it should leave anyone who loves this song with.
Dude, that last line, it just sealed it beautifully. The
Yeah.
one the one you lost, or the ones you lost are living their dreams through you. Do your best.
Yeah.
It is, it's the best. It's the only way to
it's all you
actually
need.
move forward and live properly. Like, wow.
And whenever you do something because you're suddenly, because वो phases आते हैं कि oh, I miss him and I miss her and they're not here anymore and I'm just sad. And then you're like, you have to ask, what would they want me to be doing right now? Or what would make them happy if I had in my life right now? Would they be happy if I sat here sad, moping and feeling sorry for what happened? And no, they would want me to go out there and do things, live my life, be the best version of me, be the happiest version of me that I can be, make the people who were important to us happy, things like that, right? So that also it summed up so well. And the last thing, they made this sure कि aim ना चुके, तुम ही दो जवाब, कैसे मान लूं मैं ये कि दुनिया में भगवान नहीं है. That, I can't. I can't
Beautiful
remove the
song.
emotion of it. But even if I try to, this is such a beautiful sonic experience. It is like one of those tracks which just is an experience. So yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you,
It's a
Karma,
beautiful
for
song.
bearing open your soul like this. It's not easy. It takes a lot out of you. Thank you, Sez. I'm sure when the two of you were making the song, it was therapeutic on many levels for both of you.
Yeah.
And yeah, just thank you for the music. More power, है ना?
या ये गाना क्वाइटली बैठ के सुन के, जब आसपास कोई नहीं हो तो थोड़ा इमोशन निकाल के, अच्छी तरह रोने वाला गाना है ये.
Yeah.
ये सुना जाएगा opportune moment पे, when
Yes.
it's required correctly. So thank you for therapy.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yes. Chalo, you guys take care of yourselves and live long and prosper.
दुनिया में भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं है. यहाँ पे भगवान नहीं है तो उसे परवाह नहीं.